Hello, hello, everyone. So I am coming to you with, look at this beautiful smile, Rico, who is, and actually the full name is Rico Roberts, but he goes by Rico. So I'm going to say like the Puerto Rican, Rico, Puerto Rico, because you can see his smile, he's full of life. And I actually just recently when I say met, I was part of the mastermind of Keller Williams I got invited to last week, and I just loved his energy, his hunger for making it happen and having, I mean, he starts early in the morning with scripts, with like a strategy he has for his business. And then he ends probably like at 8 and then does it all over again and has amazing ways of consistency, being out there, showing up. But he also has uniqueness in how he goes about doing business. So that's why I want is like, I right away I sent a message, Rico, would you be part of this podcast? Because I want you to share this energy. Because yes, this market right now, a lot of people are saying it's slower, it's not selling, but he's not stopping there. He's not stopping at the market. So Rico, tell us who you are. And also, by the way, I'm not licensed in his state, but I just think this type of energy, if I can introduce him to someone in of CMG that works there, or even get a license, because just listen to him. He has so much to share. By the way, when you listen to him, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do half of what he does. Pick at least one thing that you might start implementing for yourself. So enough said on my end. Rico, good morning. Thank you so much. So tell us who you are and thank you for being with me this morning.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much for having me. Man, I'm super, super excited. Yes, I usually do a lot of masterminds early in the mornings. That's how I usually get my day going. To get everything started. But let me backtrack really quickly. So, my name is Rico Roberts. I am located in Columbia, South Carolina. I am a licensed realtor here. Yes, I have been here. I actually only been licensed for only about a year for now, right? But the amount of success that has been coming through in the year has been phenomenal. And the amount of love and the amount of support that I've been getting has just been through the roof. So, so just a little about me. I'm from Miami. I grew up down in St. Louis. I started off going to undergrad for healthcare. I'm actually still in school. I only have 6 left to be a doctor for physical therapy. But I just love real estate. I've been doing it for the past 8 years. I bought my very first property at 22, which was a duplex. I lived on one side, rented the other side out. I know y'all probably hear that story all the time, but I actually really did it, right? I watched a YouTube video and I seen somebody talking about it, right? Like, excuse me, they were like, buy a duplex for 200,000, live on one side, rent out the other side, do it for like 2 or 3 years, and then use that money to go somewhere else. And I'm like, man, ain't no way it's that easy. So I ended up doing it, right? So I when I was living in St. Louis, I bought a duplex for 100,000. I put 3.5% down, which was 3,500. And I lived on one side, rented out the other side, mortgage, around that time it was only like, well, I actually still paid. It's only like 900, right? So, I ended up getting it. Moved one person on the other side of it. They lived there for a couple of years. They actually still live there. It was just a family living in there, and you know, um, I still worked at the same time. So I worked while I was living there. So we lived there for about 2, 3 years. Took all the money out of that, and then went and bought another one. So basically, what I do is like my strategy every single year on my birthday, what I do is I go out and I buy vacant houses. And then the whole year while I work, I put that money back into those houses and I flip them. And then I move my people in it. I move them in there for about 12 months, help them fix their credit, and then I help them buy. So I've been doing that for the past 8 years before I was even licensed. So that's how I got into the game. Uh, yeah, talk to me.
So I have a question on that because you may have some people say today, yes, but we can't find a duplex for $200,000 to in this time. So how would somebody start right now that they're like, well, the prices in some areas are like 300, 400. How can I afford that? How am I going to cash flow on this? So what would you say to someone who says that?
Yeah, and that's fine, right? 300, okay, say for this 300, right? No problem. You put 3.5% down on 300, excuse me, right? So after you do that, I mean, you can go in with somebody else if you need to. Mortgage on that, Don't quote me because I don't want nobody calling me and be like, oh, you told them, no. I would say, say your mortgage is about 1,500, right? These are just numbers I'm throwing out. So your mortgage is 1,500, rent is 1,500 anyway, right? But you got a house, you got a duplex, one side is paying. Rent nowadays is about what, 17, 1,800, depends on where you live. So if you're charging 18, 1,900 for rent, your rent is say 1,500, you're not paying that. Your next door neighbor is, right? Because you got to say if you're getting a duplex, you get a triplex, two people pay it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on that. So I would just say like I don't really think like find the market you want to be in, find the house you want to be in. Like if you're a fixer upper like me, you can find something for 250 where you can fix it up and make it 500, right? And
Right.
then but that's what I would say. I would say find a multi family if you can, do
Mm-hmm.
triplex, quad, right? Anything like that. Live on one side of it for a couple of years because you can get an FHA loan on it, right? Live on one side of it for a couple of years, fix it up, move people in as you're living in it, and then after 4 or 5 years, once it's ready, you can rent out your side, and then you know, say you were charged 2,000 per unit, right? You have 4 units, you're making 8 grand, and your rent is only 1,500. Is that worth it?
That is totally worth it. And I personally, that was my second investment. So I bought a single family as my first home. Then I did buy the duplex in Swanee, Georgia, and I rented one side and lived in one side. I already had an FHA, so I couldn't get a second FHA, but I got a conventional. You can do it 5%. Still very minimum amount of down payment versus an investor putting 20. So great strategies. Thank you so much. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's how I think about it, right? Because you just have to make it make sense, right?
Right.
Anybody can get in real estate and invest. It's just you don't have to think of it like, oh, I got to buy one house. It's got to be a single family home, and I got to live in it for 5 years to get equity. That's not the only way to get into real estate. You can get a duplex. You can get like I have like down in South Carolina right now. I have a property getting sold. It's 1 acre of land, 4 properties on it. Um, 3 of them are rented out, so you're making 2,400 in rent, and then you can still get an FHA loan because the main house is empty. So you're going to be living in the main house while you're renting the 3 other ones out.
Nice.
It's just the way you're looking at it or the way you get educated in it.
Right. Definitely.
So that's what I would say. That's my biggest thing. So,
Well,
and
thank
that's
you for letting me interrupt and interject this part and love your answer. Thank you.
absolutely. So yeah, so that's what I would say. But other than that, so that's how I got into it. So I got into it, excuse me, like I said, at 22, I'm 30 now. So I have, about 10 properties, 5 Airbnbs. So that's how I manage it now. But like I said, all I do is every single year on my birthday, get a vacant property, work on it through the year. As I'm working through it, like I said, what I will do is I will go ahead and fix it up, move the people in it, and then go from there. Now, 9 out of 10 times, I do buy my properties in cash. So what I do is I go to really, really rough areas and I buy them for a really, really low price, and I help them build the area up. Usually, is what I do, right? And I know nowadays you probably it's hard to go and buy a property for 10, 20,000. And that's fine, no problem, right? You just have to look at the comps and make it make sense. If you can buy a property for 50, 60 grand, put 50, 60 in it, but you could sell it for 250, that's still worth it. You just have to have a plan on how you're doing it and just making it make sense. So that's what I would say about the investing part of it. And
Beautiful.
like I
Mhm.
said, I've been doing it for 8 years, so it's been working for me.
Awesome. So you're seasoned into this and you're still finding properties in this current market that you are able to flip and you are able to use your strategy.
Always, yeah, and that's my biggest thing. So, like I said, I only been into the game for a year in the real estate as a licensed person. But see, my thing is now is I have so much knowledge before I came into this, where I have investors coming now, and I know exactly what they're looking for. I have first-time home buyers coming in and telling me what they want, and I know exactly what they're looking for because I've been in probably 500 houses, 1,000 houses, right? Um,
Mhm.
Flipped houses. So I know pretty much everything that's included into the real estate game. So that's why me coming as a licensed, realtor, um, you know, I know like, and I won't lie to you, prior to this, I worked at a call center. I was a manager. I had supervisors under me. I had reps under me. I worked 9, 10, 12-hour shifts. You know, it was more of a mental job than it was physical because you'll just be talking to people all day long, things like that. And excuse me, the biggest thing with that was like I was selling cable and making almost 10,000 a month. But when I was making that money, I was always putting it back into real estate, like putting it back into it or buying real estate. So to me, it was just like, it was just a stepping stone to get to where I really want to go.
Yeah.
That's how I really looked at it, right?
Do that again, that stepping stone. Because even my first time buyers, I tell them it is a stepping stone, even if you don't buy that dream home. Because sometimes people like, I want my dream home. I want to go from renting to dream home. Like, how about a stepping stone so you can build equity, can get used to making a mortgage payment? I love that you said that stepping stone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that the job taught me was how to have a schedule and how to stick to it, right? Like I used to work a 9 to 5. So like, for example, like now that I'm into the real estate game, I have not changed my schedule, right? My schedule is I get up at 5, I go to the gym, I get on early morning calls at about 6:30, come home, shower, get ready, eat. 7:30, I'm on the next call. 8:20, I'm usually on the road by now at the office. I have script practice at 9:30. I have, and then I lead generate. From 10 to 1, I lead generate. And that's my morning schedule. I do not change that schedule. No matter what happens in the morning, I do not change my schedule. Because the biggest thing my coach teaches me is, excuse me, the people that you have now, they will always be there. You don't have to keep chasing after them. But every morning you get up, you have to go and find new business because once those people close, you are back unemployed or back looking for business.
Right.
When I worked at a call center, I didn't have that problem. I had calls coming in, leads were coming in. I never knew what was getting out here and finding leads. I don't know what that means. I have people calling. So what I do now is I don't chase after leads. I attract everything that I do, right? Like my biggest strategy is like open houses, right? I literally sit there, like I told you, I set a call center for 9, 10 hours answering calls, making 10,000 a month. Now what I do is I sit at an open house for 4, 5, 6 hours out the day for 7 days out the week to sell it. And I'll make that in about, I can make that off, 1 or 2 transactions, just depends on what it is, right? So that's just how my mind frame is to that. People always ask me like, how do you just sit at these open houses with nothing in it and, for all these hours? But you have to make it make sense, right? Like my biggest thing is like I know people be like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Man, the worst thing that could happen is I go back to work at a corporate America, right? Or just go back to work, period, for anybody, to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so every day I'm gonna get up and make it do what it do.
I
That's
have a
just
question, Rico. You said you have open houses. Are you in a subdivision, a new construction?
it don't I'll go anywhere. I do resales, I do new construction, I do wherever we have a house in my market center that has it for sale. I will sit there all day long until it gets sold.
Awesome. So you're saying somebody who has a house during the week, you can do open house.
Yeah. Like
So
when I
where did that start that people say is open houses on Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like when I got into the game, everybody was like, "Yeah, it's just on the weekends." But the way once again, where when I was working, right, I wasn't off on Saturday and Sundays. That was the busiest days for us, right?
Mhm.
So I couldn't come and look at no house on the weekends. So to me, if I can become available Monday through Friday for somebody who couldn't make it on Saturday and Sunday, I'm that much more available for that one person that couldn't make it on the weekends. You know. And yeah,
I
I'm all
said it. You're unique because you're taking a strategy of where people are mostly doing Saturday and Sunday open house, and you're like, why not
but
another day of the week?
everybody doing it on Saturday, Sunday. So how are you going to be different than anybody else on the weekends? Which I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm way different. And like my energy, my my confidence, my the way that I know the market, the way that I know the area, the way that I know these houses, like there's nobody else out here that's doing it like me. At the level that I'm doing it, at the energy that I'm doing it, there's nobody else out here like me. Like my coach always tell me, he said, don't reinvent the wheel. And I tell them, I'm not. All I'm doing is I'm putting my Ferrari engine in that wheel and we making it do what it do.
I love it. Speaking of open house and uniqueness, I love when you said in the mastermind, the senses. So you actually have a strategy, and I hope it's okay for me to share some of those nuggets that you had shared in the mastermind. You basically said open house means you're going to smell cookies. You're going to smell something that feel homey because I'm all into, and we're talking to spiritual in a moment, but I'm all into what is really attracting somebody, like speaking to them. Somebody may be in the, oh, that smells good. And there it's about food. Then they get motivated that way, right? Or then you also mentioned like your energy. So they'll feel you. That's
Yep,
another way, right? That touch that you have personally. And then the taste and the cookies and all that stuff, but hearing, right? So they're hearing you. So you're touching all of the senses that the person has so that wherever they are more triggered by, they will see you, they will hear you, they will feel you, they will have all of those. I totally love how you said that.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my thing is like, I'm big on energy, so like when someone come into the open house, like, I make sure it smell good because you're gonna smell me, right? You're gonna smell what's in here. Like, you go like I like good energy. The first thing is you come in and you got that aroma, right? You got that smell, you got that, you gotta feel that like that, right? Like when you go out and you get dressed, you put that cologne on, you feel like that, right? Same way in the house, you make them feel like that. Then I got the music playing, so you're gonna feel me, yeah, yeah, right. So you're gonna feel me, right? Because I like that energy, right?
Right.
And once I get those two, you're gonna hear me, right? Everything I gotta say, you're gonna listen to what I gotta say, but just based on how you feel on my energy, right? And I'm very big on that. Like, and that's why I say every weekend there's probably 10, 20, 30 open houses going on, right? But there is nobody out here doing it like I'm doing it. I'm telling you, the way that my energy is, the way that I set these open houses up, the way that I know the market, there is no other agent doing it at the level that I'm doing it and as consistently as I'm doing it. Nobody out here is doing it like that.
So what's really big is everything is energy. It's definitely my motto because I'm an energy practitioner. But you also share about coaching, your ways of doing. So you have a certain mindset. Is mindset a big thing for you?
Yeah, I think mindset is the biggest thing, right? I think it's just how you set your day up and how you think, right? Like, see, when people wake up in the morning, there's two types of ways that you wake up, right? So you wake up, you say, today's going to be a good day. I expect something good to happen for me today. Today's going to be phenomenal, right? And then the day is going to be phenomenal, right? And like I feel like there's just there's something inside of you that there's somebody on in the top, like I listen to Steve Harvey a lot. He said there's a factory worker in your head that just says, hey, Rico got up today. He said today's going to be a good day. So that means today we're going to have good thoughts. We're going to find good people. We're going to have good energy. We're going to go find, we're going to have some good food. Like today's just going to be perfect, right? Every day I wake up, I say today's going to be a phenomenal day, right? Then, I don't really like to get into this way, but then you have other ones, right? They get up, they be like, today is and today is just and then like the whole day is just and that's just how it goes. I think it's just the way that you got up and the way that you started the day also, right? Like I wake up with a lot of energy. I don't really need no coffee. I don't need no energy drink, right? I'm ready. I got a bottle of water. I'm ready to go, right? And that's kind of my thing, like, you know, and like I said, I'm very big on energy. So like, with the sunlight, with the water, like, I just like, just nature on its own for me, um, like that's how I kind of connect the most way, right? Um, and that's the thing to me, because it also then it goes through the day, how you think, and then what you eat, and then what you get into, and then how your thoughts go, right? That's why I say I'm very big. Like I just gave you my routine on what I do in the mornings, right? I'm very, very big on that because, I don't really have to think about what I gotta do. I already know what's going to happen. And by doing those things, they bring me results that I want in my business, right? So that's why I say I think it's a mindset thing. It's like from when you wake up, like the way that you get up, the way you talk to yourself, and the way that you maneuver through the day is big. It's very, very big.
Agreed. It's funny enough, I'm going to put us next to each other because as you said that, so I do have a cup of coffee, but it's actually a tea that's not caffeine, just like the flavor of it and feeling like you're in a coffee shop having a conversation. But as I said that, I'm like, oh, he just said I don't need coffee. So just mindset that I it's like five, well, this started at 5:30 my time. I don't need coffee myself either. I do also have very similar, here you go again, hydration. I do have a mindset like yours of like we are being programmed, right? We already programmed of how we're going to set this tone for the day. And you said it, you deciding I'm going to have the best mindset. It's going to be an amazing day. So if you see around my desk, I do have sticky notes. You can't really see my handwriting, but I always see evidence of amazing day. I always like I have things around me, like if on my right side, I choose and receive 10 closings or more a month. It provides freedom. So I am in the same mindset that you are. It's around me. It's on my fridge. It's in my bathroom. Just reminders, just so that, and it's in yellow to highlight. This is what I expect. So that's my invitation to anyone who's listening. If you're already waking up every day, oh my gosh, the market is like this. Your days, I totally, everything you said is true. And I also, in order for me to have this ability to wake up in the morning and get going, is because I go to bed and I also have a practice of like being grateful for the day, which basically during the sleep, I'm just programmed to like everything is amazing. Right. And if it's not, I get to shift that. And I agree with you. And that goes with, you said, the higher person. I go with the spirituality. So would you mind sharing a little bit more about your spirituality, how you incorporate spirituality in your business, in how you, I mean, you already did some pieces of it with, higher person, but tell us more. Do you actually use your faith in business and how?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I pray probably like 6, 7 times a day, from the time you get up through the day, as good things or bad things going on, lunch, as you driving home, before you go to bed. Like, yeah, I think I'm very big on that. I probably don't bring that out as much because I think people will see it through me as I'm doing it. But yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very big on that. I believe if you pray for it and you ask for it, it will come. It might not come today, it might not come tomorrow, but it'll come. Once again, I'm big on motivational things, but like, the way I look at it is like, say you say, I want $1 million. Okay, no problem, right? You pray for it, and you're gonna put it in the mail, and it's gonna come, right? And you got to be on Faith Street, right? Like you got to have faith, right?
Right.
You got to be on Faith Street. But what happens a lot of times is a lot of people get off Faith Street and they go to like I don't know Avenue, right? And they just stand there for a second. And what happens is it's like UPS, right? UPS come and drops off the package, but if you're not at home, they're gonna leave and leave a ticket and say, "Hey, you missed your time. We'll maybe try to catch you again." And I think that's what happens with a lot of people, right? They leave the Faith Avenue, they get really, really, really close to what they want to do, right? Because they go off faith. And then, like, maybe something happens and they're like, okay, no, I got to jump off this. I got to go back to work. I got to go do this. And they go to, I don't know, Avenue. So now they back stuck again, right? And then the UPS driver might have came through, which is your blessings, right? They made it came, but you weren't where you were supposed to be for you to catch them because you didn't believe enough in what you were trying to do. So you went to a whole different avenue and now you missed it. So now your belief level is not really there as much because you're like, okay, I asked, but it didn't come. But maybe you didn't give it enough time. The other thing, like I'll give you one other example is like, and once again, I listen to Steve Harvey a lot, but like say you got a like an old car, like there's this lady that had an old car in her driveway. And she'll always pray for a new car because the old car wouldn't drive or whatever. But that old car would be in the driveway, it's just sitting there, like it's just collecting dust. You can't do nothing with it, right? So finally, she decided to give the car away, and she sold it. Probably got like $500 for it. And like I said, she always prayed for a new car. She always wanted something. 2 weeks later, she got exactly what she wanted because she got rid of something that was not supposed to be there for her, and she got what she really needed. And
Yeah.
that's just something that's just kind of how I look at things.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for that analogy because everybody does have that UPS or FedEx, and he brought it home with a simple example with that faith. And Just taking a moment to let it sink in. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Now, going back into the real estate conversation of how you do business, do you have a success story or a story that you would like to share of what makes you unique or something that has just recently happened that you would like to share with us? Of a client story.
Yeah, I don't really, I have a lot of things that I really do for a lot of people, but I don't really, like to put it out there as much. But just recently, I always look at, when God bless me, I always bless people back. Always. It don't matter how it will be. I had a closing a couple moved down here. They've been living in the RV for 5 years. They moved down here, South Carolina. They got this really, really nice house. Um, and they moved in it, but no furniture, nothing. They're like, hey, we're starting off fresh. The wife is the only one working. The husband is like, stay home. And they were just like, anything you can do for us. So basically, what I do is I work with a lot of sellers and buyers. So every time someone would leave, I would take their stuff, like whatever they would get rid of, and I put it in my house. And I did it all the way until I built up a whole room for them. So 2 days ago, they came to my house. They picked everything up for free, no cost, nothing. Just wanted to get back to them. Hopefully, that was the biggest closing gift they ever had. But I didn't need it back. I know I'm gonna get blessed times 10, but it's just, I just love to see that for them to have 4 kids. They got one on the way. Yeah, and then they sent me a picture with the kids playing on the couch, and that was everything for me.
My gosh, that is such an amazing story. And you did say before, it's like you don't necessarily go out there and preach or talk about faith, but that is a testimonial of being a person of faith, a person who gives, receives, and gives, and knows that it's going to come back tenfold, and you give a hundredfold. And it's like, oh my gosh, such a touching story. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And
Absolutely.
and you said something that you have your practice with your routine, and you have your moment where you do your scripting, you have certain strategies that you have for the day, and it's lead generation that you do from I think 10 to 1 or what you have at that time, but you also nurture the relationships that you have.
Always. I call my people once a day, or not once a day, sorry, month. I call them, I check in with them, I make sure they're good. I make sure they just check in with them. I really need from them, like I said, this couple that that I just got done, talking to, I mean, they've been 2, 3 months now, I don't break those relationships because like I always look at the long term. Like I know, they teach us like to connect with people to get referrals and stuff like that. I don't really do it for that. I do it because like I really look out for the people, I really do. So that's my thing. Like I really connect with people.
Me too. And I'm going to go on a limb with this. You just shared the story about how you take things from people's out, whatever they give you, and you store it until the person that next that needs it. And I know it touched you because you got emotional about it, and that just shows your big heart. And it is the transparency of who you are, and you're not doing this. Yes, you're doing it because you want to replace income from corporate America and being having the freedom to do business as you want, but you're giving back. I mean, look at this man who's full of energy, who's masculine energy, but has such a heart that's able to get such an emotion because of what he does on a day-to-day basis. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for that, Rico. That is
Which
awesome. Yeah, that is, oh my gosh. I am so touched because a lot of time people talk about success stories about the closing, it happened, everybody's happy. It's like that after the fact, what you did. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
That's beautiful. So, um, what else about take a deep breath as we step from this emotional moment. It's still touching. And look, and I also invite people to, as you're listening, where in your life that you are taking those small steps that seem so small to you maybe and take for granted that you're actually making a big difference in other people's lives. So take a moment taking that in and really realizing what we do on a day to day. And if you feel like it's not enough, then find a way of being kind and giving, like Rico gave an example. It's something that he's not necessarily, he doesn't just lead generation, it attracts the business, right? So he already has clients who are giving away things. It's like, you know what? I can store this stuff and I can give it to someone else. What I'm hearing is that you're using what's right here in front of you and you're just tweaking them. You're just tweaking them. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're just tweaking them to make it work for you and have different strategies, but then you have systems, you have consistency.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything else about real estate that you would like to share or leave with us with in real estate or even in your life? Or what would be something you would like to add to our conversation right now?
I mean, I'm very open, I mean, if there's anybody out there I could help, anybody out there who's maybe starting off or like, maybe been in the game for a minute, I don't really do more than four things, I only focus on four things at the business. I just do it at a very, very high level. So I'll say, connect with yourself, figure out what your why is, figure out what you want to do and what works for you. As you can see, I'm just doing what works for me. Like open houses might not be for you, and that's fine. You know, you might do better with events, and that's fine too. But just learn what you want to do, times 10 that, and just focus on that. And I think if you do that, it will give you everything you want out of it, just being honest. So, like I said, if anybody ever need anything, you're more than welcome to reach out. I don't know, do I put it? If you want to, I'll probably share my information with you, right? Uh,
Yes, I'll have the information on the
yeah,
post. Yes.
you're more than welcome to, reach out to me. You can follow me on all the social medias, just my name, Rico Roberts. And like I said, just follow the journey, right? Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, be where your feet are, right? That's what I'm working on. And then I'm working on patience, right? So just be patient with the process. And as long as you do those things, your business will go really, really far and where you want it to go. But enjoy the process and make it fun. Like I make real estate fun. Like I just enjoy the whole thing and what I do. And then like, just having an impact on people is just with the process that I'm doing. So like I said, have fun. Like I said, if I can do anything for you, you're more than welcome to reach out any way I can help you. But yeah, if you're ever in the Carolinas, give me a call. We're gonna take care of you.
Love it. So I love the keyword that we're going to end with. Have fun with what you do.
Mhm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
the process will be in the day will go much easier. And yes, I will have all your information and socials for you to connect with Rico and pick his brain, pick a time with him. He, like I said, I reached out to him. He said, yes, let's have a conversation. So, and he's with Keller Williams. So even if you're in a different state, I'm sure he can connect you with someone else. But you can have that initial conversation with him, strategies that he can share with you, whatever conversation, start a conversation, reach out to Rico. Thank you so much for listening.